And as always, your views and comments are welcome via social media. Just look for Joy News on TV on Twitter and also Joy News on Facebook. Drop your comments with the hashtag #ThePulse, who will share your thoughts with the rest of the world. Now we begin with some politics, where the new Patriotic Party is demanding that the Electoral Commission state its official position on recommendations by the 5-member panel set up to examine the concerns about the voters register. The panel, headed by Justice V.C. R.A.C. Crabb, was put together following concerns about the credibility of the voters register. They have since submitted their report to the EC. But speaking at a press conference today, Communications Director of the NPP, Nana Komia, says it's strange that the election regulatory body is yet to make its official position known on their proposals. Kwacha Afreniama covered that press conference for us and joins me now in the studio. Afre, we know already that the EC had presented a copy of what the report was supposed to be and what it contains in their position. How come today they are saying that they have not had the official position of the EC today?
Well, what the Electoral Commission presented to the MPP, and that letter was addressed to the General Secretary of the party some months ago, detailed why the EC felt the push by the MPP for a review of the voters register could not come off at all. And in that letter, if you read it, about more than 3-page document, the EC did not directly make reference to the recommendations of the committee. And that's the point that the MPP is making, that even though they've written this letter to them some months ago, that alone is not enough. They want the EC to state its official position on some of the key recommendations that the committee made. And this is based on the fact that the party says over the past few days the EC's failure to do this is what has generated the controversy, for example, of whether or not the committee recommended validation or otherwise. And the communications director of the party, Nana Komia, says that he expects, and in fact the MPP expects, that the Electoral Commission will do this, will come up and state its official position on the 5-member panel's recommendations as soon as possible.
Understand it. That's a question that will be best answered by the Electoral Commission, because you set up this panel. The panel has used public funds. They sat for some period. These are eminent people. They spend their time, their energy, their resources, their expertise. They've come out with a report, very clear. The Electoral Commission up to speak, and the panel report has been available for at least 4 or 5 months. They haven't commented. So we also find it quite strange.
And what do you think this takes away from the process?
What we believe is that if you've appointed a panel and they've brought a report, at least put the report, let's see what aspects can be used, and if some aspects cannot be used, why they cannot be used. So at the very least, the Electoral Commission could have convened an IPAC meeting and said, this is the recommendation of my panel. Let's see what aspects we can adopt to clean the register. That has not been done. We find it quite strange, and it takes away from the process.
What does it take? That's what I'm asking. What does it take away?
Well, if you appoint a panel and the panel has brought a report and you totally ignore it, it takes away from the process. At least, let's even consider it, and let's all take a decision as to whether we'll work with it or not. That hasn't happened.
But truth be told, Nana Komia, we also know that after the panel finished its report, the Electoral Commission wrote officially to the MPP, the General Secretary, more precisely, stating why they couldn't implement some of the recommendations you were asking for. For example, on that letter they wrote to the General Secretary, they talked about this issue of having some foreigners on the register and all that. That explains.
The Electoral Commission says it cannot work with our proposals. That's why it appointed a panel to look into the best way of coming out. So if you have rejected our proposal, your own panel has come with a proposal. Are we rejecting that one too? That's our point. We're saying that the panel says that it's coming with a middle way between exhibition and a new register. So let's take that as a minimal point and start with it. That's what we are saying.
And you want the commission to publish this report, state the official position on the report, say within how many days?
We don't know why. The report has been available for the last five months or so, and that committee was not put up by the NPP or the NDC, or it was put up by the Electoral Commission. So if you put up a committee and the committee has made a report, there seems to be no comment on the report. It's
you want them to state your official position on that report as soon as?
Yes, it will be very, very useful.
So that's the communications director for the MPP, Nana Komia. Afra, we know the party has also been talking about the validation exercise. What's their concern now?
Well, last week we heard from a member of the 5-member panel, Most Reverend Emmanuel Santi, who mentioned that nowhere in their report had they stated that there should be a certain validation exercise, as the MPP and pressure group Let My Vote Count Alliance had been pushing forward. We saw that demonstration in Kumasi along those lines. The MPP insists that this is contained in the report, and Nana Komia read some pages of the committee's 77-page report, and that's the basis on which the party says that this certainly must be done. They believe that this was what exactly the committee was recommending, and again they expect the Electoral Commission to abide by its own panel of experts report. And
did they indicate if their wish for the validation is not done, what they would do? Because it's one thing calling on the EC and it's another for the EC to decide whether or not to accept your word.
Yes, that key question was asked. For example, would the MPP say that this extended exhibition exercise that the EC intends undertaking a few weeks from now will ask its members not to participate if the EC fails to go the way that they are advocating? And Ms. Nana Komia says that no, they will still ask, they will still encourage their members to participate in the process, and they believe that even if the 2016 election is conducted on this register, which they have clear issues with, MPP will win that poll.
We can hear from Nana Komia now.
The committee clearly rejected the method of exhibition of the register. The committee clearly rejected it and said that it was not viable, that the exhibition could at best provide for an update of the records, that people could go up and check their names. My name is Kwachi Nuama. I go and this Kwachi Nuama is there. Maybe the spelling is wrong, so I correct it. So I make sure my name is there. I make sure the spelling is correct. I make sure my details, my house number and all of that are correct. That's an update of my records. And the exhibition would be adequate for that purpose. But in cleaning the register, which would involve making sure that records that should not be there are not there, that is cleaning the register, the exhibition method would not be adequate. You say the new register may not be doable at this time. Okay. So you want to do exhibition. You appoint a panel. The panel has come with a middle way. All we are saying is that let's begin to get a consensus on what the panel says should be done. That is all that we are saying. Whether you call it validation, whether you call it confirmation, whatever you call it, we just say that what the Electoral Commission's own panel has recommended, let's do it. Let's meet, get a consensus to do it. Because this suggestion is not coming from any political party. It is coming from the Electoral Commission's own committee, set up to give a faithful report and recommendation on this matter. Why should there be a difficulty? Why should there be a controversy? There shouldn't be any difficulty in the Electoral Commission accepting and building consensus to implement what the committee has said. Will the Electoral Commission be going ahead with the exhibition process as a way to clean the register when its own panel has shown very clearly that the exhibition process will not be viable in cleaning the register? Because as we all know, the integrity of the voters' register is at the center of having credible, acceptable elections. All of us know that this register hasn't got the needed integrity. The Electoral Commission, fortunately, has appointed a committee. The committee has brought up a middle way. What the MPP is saying now is that the middle way that has been proposed by the Electoral Commission's own committee, we think that that should be the basis for cleaning the register.
So that's Nana Komia, the communications director of the MPP, and bear in mind in that interview, in that clip you just saw, Kwacha Frondiawa, what is it that he has issues with you, as in your name being on the register so you can be validated?
Yeah, I'm sure that was a light side mentioning my name because I was
sitting there at the news conference. Okay.
Yeah.
So with this request they're making for the AC to make their position clear, did they state within what period they want this head?
Well, the MPP did not state that, but we know that one thing that happened at the last IPAC meeting. So far, the Electoral Commission has asked all the political parties to present their proposals on how the auditing, which is one of the key recommendations of the 5-member panel, can be done. We know so far it's only the MPP that has made that recommendation, presented its proposals on that. We're yet to know the key details of that as well. So moving forward, and as I mentioned, the MPP says that even if this validation is not done, they're confident that they can win the 2016 election. But it's a principal stance that they believe this register is not fit for purpose and it should not be used to conduct any election.
Anything else the party raised apart from the 2016 elections and the validation exercise? Well,
Mr. Martin Ejimensah Kosa made a key clarification, Director of Elections of the party. He said that over the past few weeks there have been some misinterpretation of what the MPP's position is concerning this validation, that it will mean that then that if you are out of the country during the period when this exercise is taking place, it means that your name will not be captured on the register. But what the party is proposing and what they believe that per the committee's own recommendation, and they decide the Nigerian example as well, it's possible and it should be possible based on what we want to implement. The party is pushing that we implement that even after the exercise is done with the limited period. If you were out of the country, it is possible that you would be allowed to get your details validated by the Electoral Commission. So the MPP is not saying under any circumstance that and what they are recommending does not mean that you will not be your name will not, or details will not be captured if you are out of the country or you do not turn up at the polling station to get your details validated.
All right, so thank you, Kwacha Frondiawa. He is with our political desk covering the MPP news conference today, raising issues about the validation exercise as we look ahead to the limited registration exercise that's happening at the end of this month on the 28th of April. From the MPP, let's now move to the Volta region, where President John Mahama is commissioning some major roads as he takes his accounting to the people tour to that region. It starts off today. It's supposed to be a 2-day tour, and it will afford the president the opportunity to inaugurate some completed road projects, including a 46-kilometer stretch of the Eastern Corridor Road and the Nkwanta funded the road between Dodo Pepesu and Nkwanta, funded by the European Union, and a 17-kilometer Hofume Road. The president has already visited the western and eastern regions as part of the nationwide tour, which is to enable him showcase development projects undertaken by his government in the last 3 years. Let's now speak to our regional correspondent Hubert Mauli of Wagwi, who is with the president as he goes on this accounting to the people tour. Mauli, where's the president been to today and what's he been saying?
Well, the president has been to Dodo Pepesu and as we speak, we've just left Kejebi, where he addressed the chiefs and the people of Kejebi. Earlier on, he also addressed the chiefs and the people of Dodo Pepesu, where he commissioned the 46-kilometer Eastern Corridor Road project, which is one of the missing links of the Eastern Corridor Road project, which has been completed. The project, which started in December 2012, was completed in last year, September, and has been commissioned by the president today. And it was a great celebration of the people who came from all the constituencies and districts that this road link from the KJB district and the Nkwanta South district. And so it was a great celebration at Pepesu, where the president has been speaking. He likened his accounting to the people tour to the traditional practice where chiefs meet their subjects periodically to account for their stewardship to their people. And so that's a subtle reply to his critics who are accusing him of abusing incumbency by embarking on this particular tour, Francis.
Now, you've been interacting with some of the residents there at Dodo Pepesu. How have they been reacting to these infrastructure developments in that part of the region?
For them, the great news in the road project is that their districts have been opened up further for further economic activity, and the area has been known for its agricultural activity, yam farming, and all the other staples. And most of the time, these are the routes on which this farm produce are cut to the commercial centers. And so, for them, it's a great news, and it's a great relief for most of the people of the area. Because it's opened up the districts further, it's opened up some of the, it's giving access to the hinterland where some of this produce come from.
And for the president, as he goes on this tour in the region, where's he heading next and what is he expected to talk about?
Yeah, he has been speaking about cocoa production in the Kejebi district. You know, Kejebi in the past have been known for its cocoa production, and still in the Volta region is one of the very few areas which are still producing cocoa, and so he's promised the people of a program that will ensure that seedlings are given to them freely for cocoa production, to boost cocoa production in the area. And that was received with so much of applause from the people, and from here he is heading to Hohwe, where he will also be addressing the chiefs and the people of the Hohwe people. After that, he would continue with the rest of the tour for the rest of the day. So for today, is the tour is ending at Hohwe, after which he will, the next day would also continue with the rest of the tour, and perhaps crown it on Thursday.
All right, Mauli Avwabi, thank you for those details from the Volta region. The president is continuing this accounting to the people tour. We'll bring you more on that story as and when we have details for you. Now, on Accra.